Hey everybody, welcome to Karina Lanta Mentorship, and in this video we're going to talk about rich people problems and velocity banking. So let's start off with the definition of rich people problems. What is a rich person problem? It's a type of problem that's kind of an annoyance that you want to solve, but you can still kind of go to sleep at night, right? I mean, take a look at this. I applied for a business credit card. It said we based your decision or our decision, and this is a rejection, part of a rejection letter, on the following reasons. You have too many active accounts or too much available credit. That's a rich person problem, right? You know what another rich person problem is? Making too much money and having too much debt, right? So lots of money but lots of debt. And another one is if we actually eliminate all of our debt, we have too much savings. So if you ever talk to rich people, they always get a little bit nervous about having too much savings because it's like, man, I got to put that money invested somewhere, right? You ever hear that before? Like, I don't like to have idle money in my savings account, and that's what we're trying to get to if we have too much debt. So we want to have rich people problems. We don't want to have poor people problems. This is a rich people problem, and take a look at this. Rich people, no savings after making money, having too much credit, $280,000 line of credit, $15,000 line of credit. In fact, I have over $527,000 in lines of credit. Yesterday, I went to my office. I do have a little mini office, and I picked up my business credit card. Business credit card. It was 9,500. I was like, sweet. I got rich people problems, right? Over $527,000 in lines of credit. So let's get started and try to solve rich people problems with velocity banking. So what is velocity banking? All it is a debt payoff strategy using your line of credit as your main operating account, right? A line of credit. And so what's a line of credit? All it is a financial tool where you could borrow money, pay back, and use it over and over again. Credit cards, personal lines of credit, home equity lines of credit, business lines of credit, they're all lines of credit, right? Because you could pay it back and use it over and over again. It's revolving, it's two-way. Unlike a loan is a one-way street, right? And so what happens with a lot of people is that they don't know how to efficiently manage their cash flow, okay? So we take a look here, we have 15 grand of income. Again, this is a rich person problem, right? Take a look down here, that's a rich person problem too, and this is actually one of my bank statements. And we have a lot of expenses, but most of our expenses are from debt, right? 10 credit cards, we got a 55 grand auto loan. That'd be pretty sweet. I've never bought a new car before. And I've been looking at Teslas, and it's like, man, I don't know if I want one. Too scared because of the horror stories I hear on the news. But I've been looking at 55 grand cars, seeing what I can get, but I'm probably not going to buy one. A $200,000 student loan. So hopefully you went to med school, nursing school, law school, and that's why you're making this good income right here, right? We don't ever want to get a $200,000 loan on basket weaving. That's Dave Ramsey's favorite major to make fun of, right? So we got a $200,000 med school loan, and not only that, we got that $1 million house. So 80% of $1 million is about like 850, so a little bit more than a million. So we're living in the nice neighborhoods. Again, rich people problems, and atop of that, we got 2,500 in general expenses, food, gas, insurance. Maybe this might go up. I don't know. I'm just throwing out a number. But yeah, so here we are with $67 in savings. Okay. Now, when we do velocity banking, two things. Number one is the budget. So you can kind of see I've done one side of the budget, and then we do the velocity banking side. And number two is a line of credit as our main operating account. So here we have a $200,000 line of credit. So if it's in the $200,000 range, it's probably a home equity line of credit, meaning you're providing the bank your home equity as collateral, and then they'll give you a certain percentage of it as kind of like a credit card, right? Like if your home equity is like 300,000, 80% of it they'll say, hey, you could kind of use it like a credit card, right? And if you don't know what home equity is, all it is the estimated sales price of your home minus any debts that you have attached to your home, right? And then if you take a look here, right, this is my home equity line of credit at 280,000, and boy oh boy, I've been using that sucker. It's pretty cool. right? 8%. I was like blown away. I was like, but dude, I was using a 10%. And you know the other crazy thing is this one has no limits on how I can use it. The other one I used, it was like you can only withdraw $10,000 a day, and I was like, ugh, that's so. I don't even know what word to describe, but this one is. I went to the bank's website. I was like, is there any limits on how I can use this or how much I can withdraw a day? And they said no, and I was like blown away. So that means if I go to a bank's website, I could literally with a click of a button just pull out $280,000 in a into my checking account. It's like mind blowing, you know. So yeah, all right, so 200,000. We'll say we have $200,000 line of credit, and so here's the thing that we assume: yes, we should make more money. Like, there's nothing wrong with making more money, but we assume that we don't. And instead of doing the thing that most people are taught to do, which is have like $1,000 of savings, like Dave Ramsey, right? We're going to go the exact opposite direction. We're not going to have any savings at all. Okay? And then here we have the expenses. So let's go ahead and copy those right here. Okay? Let's go ahead and copy them. And then we're going to have something called cash flow, which looks like savings, but here's the thing, right? Uh when we do velocity banking, we're going to move some of our debt into the line of credit and make it as our main operating account. So I'm going to go ahead and move these 10 credit cards, $167,000 of debt, right, into here, 167000. Okay? And just by simply moving this debt, again, we haven't eliminated it, we just simply moved it. All this is going to go to zero. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And then the final part of this, and take a look at this, we went from 6785 to $5,000 of cash flow in an instant, right? Isn't that crazy? So the final step of this is you're going to put your entire 15 grand paycheck into that line of credit. So remember, the paycheck goes into the line of credit, and then your expenses comes out of that line of credit. And then your cash flow is going to reduce the balance of that loan or the line of credit every single month by about 5 grand and some change, which is the interest on that line of credit. So let's go ahead and calculate this next month's balance, next month or next month's balance plus the next month's interest minus whatever our cash flow is, or previous month's, what am I saying? To calculate the next month's balance, it's the previous month's balance plus the previous month's interest minus our cash flow, 5413.68, and then you take the average daily balance, okay? You take the average daily balance, and then we'll do that. And then you might be like, oh my goodness, the interest is 164 grand. No, it's the average daily balance minus the interest rate, which we'll say is 8.85. You know, my home equity line of credit is actually 8, so 0.85, okay? And you might be thinking, oh my goodness, the interest is 13 grand? No, no, no. The interest rate is quoted annually, but they always calculate it monthly, so you divide by 12, right? Isn't that funny how that works? Like, the way that the interest rates are advertised make absolutely no sense because I don't know. Maybe they're not, like, I don't know if they're trying to trick you, especially with the credit cards. Because when I see a 30% credit card, I remember for the longest time I never used to want to touch it, right? But maybe they make more money off the mortgages with those lower interest rate mortgages than the 30% credit cards. I don't know for sure because I don't know what goes into the bank's balance sheet. But I just found it insane that when I remember when I first learned that a 6% mortgage is about 115% interest over a 30-year period. I was shocked. I was like, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe it." Right? It's like those product shows. I can't believe they made it. Yeah, I can't believe they made a 30-year mortgage that has that costs 115% interest. Okay, as you can see here, in 35 in 35 months, we paid it all. 35 months, right? So 35 months. Let's go ahead and write down. Um, is this our goal? No, it's our milestone. What am I doing? All right, so now what we do is rewrite that we paid off all of it in 35 months and 167K, right? We did all of it. We did all of it, okay? And so now under 3 years, we good. And now all we got is 3 loans to pay off: the student loan, the auto loan, and the mortgage, okay? Now, why do we pay the mortgage last? So I've heard some people say, like, well, we should pay off the mortgage first. And there might be several reasons for that because you see this huge $850,000 balance. It's like, whoa. And not only that, it's tied to the most emotional thing, um, your home, right? Like people get really emotional about their home. If they go into foreclosure, oh my goodness, it's the end of the world. Like if they, don't pay their auto loan, somebody tows it in the middle of the night, it's like, yeah, whatever. But if they don't pay their home, it's like, I don't know if the scarlet letter is like the right word, but it's like, man, they're ashamed. You know what I mean? But here's the thing. Here's what most people don't realize. It's going to take me $850,000 to pay off and get $3,500 of cash flow. Whereas if I add these two, this is like 3,400 or 3,000, almost almost the same amount, $3,500 of cash flow, and it's only 255. So 255,000. So would you rather pay 255,000 to get $3,500 back, or 850,000 to get $3,500 back? Right. This is why we got to pay this off, these two off first, and then the mortgage, because we have to think about how much cash flow recover. Like cash flow recovery is the name of the game. Okay, that's really what it is. So let's go ahead and 35 months, right? Let's see. So we have this loan calculator right here that shows us like, hey, what's the amount that we're paying? What's the current balance? And actually, let me just do this. So what's the current balance and how much interest are we paying? And here's the thing. I'm not saying don't pay off your 30-year mortgage because like I said before, a 6% interest rate on 30-year mortgage is about 115% and 3% is like 50%. If you don't believe me, just type in 360 here and look. $440,000 of interest, right? So you probably, if you bought a home for 1 point something million, now you got to add 440 on top of that. And you know what's crazy? How like real estate buyers and sellers, they get all angsty about like $20,000 of negotiation, but they don't care about paying $100,000 to $400,000 to the bank, right? That's because the bank wants you to be asleep. I think so. Like George Carlin said. Remember George Carlin? He talked about this all the time. But let's go ahead and what month are we? I think we're on month 35. 35. All right, so let's go ahead and put that in and we'll see what the current balance is, right? And how much interest we paid. So take a look at this. 25 grand on the auto loan, right? And this is called the cash flow index. So this is like an indicator of how much cash flow your loan sucks up, right? So the lower the number, the better. So this is like a ranking system. So look at this mortgage. It's so high that yes, we want to touch it, but we want to touch it last because we're more concerned about this cash flow. Okay. So let's go ahead and move this 25 grand. And again, anything under 50, we usually want to pay off. And I love seeing 40, anything under 40 or 30. The lower the number, the better. So let's go ahead and move this 25 grand into that line of credit. Into that line of credit. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. All right. So now plus 25097.96. Okay. And take a look at this. We haven't even increased the cash flow yet, and we paid it off pretty quickly. But let's go ahead and increase the cash flow because we paid off this auto loan, right? And if we scroll up here, oh my goodness, this cash flow is about 6.4 grand. So let's go back here and copy this number, okay? So copy and paste. And I'm going to do this right here. And so minus, instead of 5,413, it's 6,489.82. I think that's the right number I'm copying. Okay, so now, whoa, take a look at that. In 39 months, we good. We good, right? Whoopsie, what did I do? I screwed up. Oh, wait, hold on 1 second. All right, so now, wait. Ugh, I don't know when to. Okay, so now, okay, so let's take a look at this. We paid that auto loan off in how many more months when we focused on that auto loan? 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 months, right? Because we got the cash flow. And cash flow is the only thing that matters. Interest rate kind of matters, but it's like second or third place, okay? So actually, so 39 months. So 39 months plus, okay. So this is 167 plus 55. That's $222,000. Okay, $222,000, right? And now we got to tackle on the student loan. Okay, so at 39 months, how much is the student loan? So let's take a look here. So this is now gone 39 months, okay, and we have $151,000 left in the student loan, and look how little the principal gets chipped. The loan balance actually gets chipped in a 30-year mortgage. It's crazy. It's crazy. We paid 80 grand in interest. Yes, ugh, this disgusts me. Anyways, so let's go here. $151,000. Now, again, as I said before, Garrett Gunderson, the guy who came up with this concept, said, hey, anything under 50 you want to pay off. And I agree with that too. So if I see numbers that are higher than 50, I probably am going to use something called the chunking or chop up your loan method, meaning just kind of move the loan or the loan into the line into little pieces that are kind of similar to your paycheck. But let's just go ahead just for this one right here, so that we don't take up too much time during this demonstration, just moving the loan to line of credit, and then with the mortgage, which is the really high cash flow index, which means it sucks up very little cash flow compared to the loan amount. That's the one we don't want to replace with a line of credit. We definitely don't want to do that. That's bad news, and I've talked about that in other videos. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy and paste here. Okay, so this 151 grand, so plus 151,492. Okay, and now, so this is going to be 0, right? And so now it's 8.9 grand. 8.9K is now our cash flow because we paid off that student loan or just moved it into the line of credit. All right, so let's go ahead and copy and paste here, and let's just do this. And so now what we got to do is update this number to 8916.37. Okay, and it's not 58, it's just 8. Okay, so now let's go ahead and copy this. Okay, and see. Oh man, all right, so I think I got it. All right, and we see that we paid off in 57 months. Not bad. How much is 57 months? So that's 57 divided by 12. Oh, that's 4.75 years. Not bad. Okay. So now let's go back here, and then it's just 57 months, and then 422K. Okay, 422,000. And now the next thing that we have is the mortgage. Okay, so the mortgage, again, I would not put the whole thing into line of credit because number one, we don't even have a huge line of credit to fit the balance. It's only $200,000, right? But the next one is again, this is the only time that the interest rate kind of matters, because if you put that $850,000 loan at 3% into an 8% line of credit, there's not enough cash flow that will offset that interest because of that high cash flow index. And we have to remember, with amortized loans, there's three things that affect the payment: the original balance, the interest rate, and the loan term. All three play a factor, but everybody just focuses on this, right? I mean, think about the housing market. Is the housing market mostly affected by the interest rate? Yes. They're not, that's the only thing people like care about. Whereas you got, one of the most important things that you're going to learn with real estate is that the purchase price is important. In fact, the secret to getting wealthy in real estate is knowing what they call the market value and then always getting a huge discount off of that, right? So if you have a $300,000 home, buy for 200,000. And then some of you are like, that's impossible. And nothing's impossible if you look hard enough, right? I remember the first time I saw that, I actually bought a $330,000 home for $210,000. And I was like, whoa, this is amazing. And then if you want to learn, you can do that too. I sell educational programs, believe it or not, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But let me go back, and how many months was that? Well, 57 months. Okay, so let's go ahead and 57 months, figure out, and this is 0, how much balance, and take a look at this cash flow index. So high, higher than 50, higher than 100, 212, and look at how much interest we paid. So let's go ahead and focus on paying off this $760,000 balance so we can be completely debt free. Okay, so we're going to do that. And I'm going to show you, I'm sorry, my voice is going through some metamorphosis, but I'm going to show you that you can easily pay this off. right? And still control your money, because what's the main fear of, let's say you got $8,000 or $9,000 of savings and dumping into a loan? It's because when the loan is a one-way street, and when you dump your money into a loan, you never really get it back. And then if you dump your money into a loan and then you're using credit cards as backup, right? You're segregating your income. So that's one thing we also want to prevent: segregation of income. And it's real, because I get spreadsheets. If I have it here, do I have it here? No, I may not have it here. But I've done a live stream on this where somebody sent me a spreadsheet with 22 debts and had only $4 in the savings left over in a month. And this person actually had a personal line of credit, like 22 grand or 18 grand or something like that. And, just having a line of credit is not velocity banking, because this person did not make the line of credit as the main operating account. And then once we showed how we can make it the main operating account, then the debt payoff got so much easier, right? So much easier. Okay, so let me go ahead and open the velocity banking spreadsheet. Give me one moment. All right, bam, there we go. There we go, kabloom. So what's this? This is a velocity banking calculator from Renata's, where I originally learned velocity banking from. I don't know if you can see that well. All right, there we go. There we go. Right? I sell their education. Believe it or not, I get commission off of it. You know, you know how much I get for selling a $2,000 product, especially in the beginning. $300 of commission. I actually make more money on YouTube in selling the $2,000 product. Now, if you sell the $20,000 product, you get about 10K commission, because again, it depends on how many you've sold, and there's all these other things. And I used to sell life insurance too, and commissions were always confusing. But my point is that I learned it from here. Okay, I learned it from here. And if you want this calculator, you gotta pay in. You gotta pay for the education. You gotta pay. People who don't pay, they don't pay attention. Okay, so I put this all the information here. Okay, so this is what I want to demonstrate. So you may hear on the internet that, hey, you should always replace your low interest rate mortgage with a higher interest rate line of credit. So let's say I actually replaced it, 760 761.9. Okay, 6.8 years and $245,000 of interest. So you might be, well, that's better than not paying 30, and at least you save some interest. But yeah, look what happens when I just chunk a small amount. Oh my goodness, 5.6 and 69K of interest. Okay? So do you want to pay 69K or 245? And actually, let's just do this. 245 minus 69. If you're going to replace your mortgage, you're actually paying $176,000 more than you need to. And here's the thing. Here's what I always say. Hey, listen, if you want to throw $176,000 off the door because you feel like you got to get a first lien HELOC, just give it to me and I'll buy a Tesla. How about that? Right? All right. So let me just kind of go back here. And then, as I said, so this is just the amount that we chunk into the line of credit. And then you just kind of pay it in over and over again. And now we paid it off in 5.6 years and 69K of interest. So 5.6. Take a look at that. So now let's go ahead and go back to the spreadsheet, right? So spreadsheet right here. So now it's 57 divided by 12 plus 5.6. So this is about 10.35 years. And how much of debt is this? And this is now 0. So it's 422 plus 850. Wow, $1.2 million of debt? Okay. 1.27 million. Nice. Nice. All right. So 10 years. Now we're making a good salary, 15 grand a month, but we're choking because of debt. And now we got rich people problem. So one version of rich people problem is you make a lot of money, but you got a lot of debt, right? That's one version of rich people problem. The second one is because you got so much credit, the bank is going to reject you on that. That's another rich person problem. Now here's the third rich person problem. Okay, you got savings. So now you got paid off all your debt. Every single month you got 12,500 in savings, and now you're getting nervous because, like, oh my goodness, like, if I just put it in the savings account it's going to be eaten up by inflation. So I got to make the money to work. And this is why it's actually much easier to raise money from rich people than poor people, right? Because rich people got money and they're willing to make it work. You know what I'm saying? They're willing to deploy that money. Poor people, you take their money and you lose it, like that's the whole world to them, right? That's why you don't raise money from poor people. Okay? Remember, what was this guy's name? Jay Morrison? I think he did that. And so there's a reason why the SEC really, really regulates people when they raise funds from people who are not accredited investors. I think that's like less than 200 something thousand dollars in net worth minus the home, like or something like that. But what I'm saying is this: the government knows that borrowing money from poor people causes a lot of problems, which is why they strictly regulate. And again, I'm not giving you legal or financial advice. I'm just saying from a common sense perspective, it's much easier to raise money from rich people. And that's probably, again, I don't know all the laws, but there's probably less regulation from raising it from people who have a lot of net worth than people who don't, right? Rich people problems. That's the tagline of the day today. Okay? All right. Well, that's it for today. So it's Friday. Have a great day. And who knows? I might do a live stream soon. It's not the end of the month yet, but we'll have one soon. And I'll probably talk about credit 101. Have a great day, everybody.